Tonight, under the bright lights at Woodbine Mohawk Park, the stage is set for one of harness racing's biggest evenings of the year, the Mohawk Million. First, it's the battle of the undefeated in the Metro Pace, a $1 million showdown where speed meets pride as local standout Bojangles squares off against frantic Hanover. Over in the Canadian Trotting Classic, Canadian record holder Mohawk Legacy looks for a little more Mohawk magic. But can last year's Million winner Maryland find his way back to the Campbellville winner's circle? And finally, $1 million is on the line as the two-year-old trotters clash in the Mohawk Million. This year's edition has assembled the deepest field yet. Every step, every stride could be the start of a champion's legacy. $1 million purses, $1 million talent. It all unfolds tonight, only in prime time. PrimeTime Racing is live in Campbellville, Ontario at Woodbine Mohawk Park for tonight. A card featuring more than $3.8 million in purses. It's Canada's richest night of racing. It's the Mohawk Million. And it's a clear evening here tonight in Campbellville. Our racing surface is fast. The temperature sitting around 17 degrees Celsius. The wind coming out of the east at 19 kilometers an hour. It's cooling down by the minute, but again, pretty comfortable night. We've already seen some big time miles. We're set now for what is going to be a fun night. And welcome to the desk just outside the paddock here at Mohawk Park. Mark McKelvey and Greg Blanchard with you. Mohawk Million night. The spotlight certainly on the freshmen in the Metro Pace and the Mohawk Million. Those two-year-old races carrying that seven-figure purse. But overall, top to bottom, Greg, this is about as good as it gets when you talk about an all-star lineup.
You are right. It does not get any better than this for a racing fan. You have the who's who here tonight. Tonight, really, a showcase for the rookies, the Metro Pace, two-year-old pacers, the Mohawk Million, both $1 million races, and Canadian Trotting Classic on the undercard here tonight as well. And this has really become one of the most important nights on the racing calendar anywhere in North America. And tonight, some dream matchups to go along with it. In the Metro Pace, maybe the best matchup we've ever seen. Undefeated
Colts, frantic Hanover and Bojangles are going to square off. You heard it in the opener. You've got Maryland, last year's standout $1 million winner, coming back to Mohawk Park. A Mohawk Legacy's just been terrific here, especially at his home track. And of course, the Million with that deep field. The storylines are aplenty. In total tonight, 5 Grade 1 races. We're going to bring 3 your way. We'll recap those other 2 that happened just a little bit earlier ago. But alongside Greg and myself, we have one more member of our broadcast team to introduce, and that's Jamie McDonald. Jamie, how's it going?
Thanks, guys. I'm just inside the paddock here, and I look forward to catching up with trainers and drivers who send out some of their phenomenal horses on the 3 races that we're covering. And one of those trainers that I'm going to speak to in a little bit is Ron Burke. And not only is he a top trainer in North America, he won 5 major races just this past week. So he's looking to add more to his resume here on the north side of the border. And I look forward to catching up with him in a little bit.
Well, Jamie, it's already been a big night for Ron Burke. He just won the She's a Great Lady with Lua Deepa, that Grade 1 event for two-year-old pacing fillies. Last night, though, he had another big win, this time in Indiana. It doesn't matter, state, province, whatever it is, he is winning in the past 7-8 days.
That's all he's doing right now is winning races. And trotter Lexus Cody won last night in Indiana. And he came back in a 7-day period after winning the Yonkers International. He dead heated tonight in the big race at Hoosier last night. So, yeah, it's been quite a roll for Team Burke. A Canadian record set just a race ago with Lua Deepa. in the She's a Great Lady. So all things going well for Team Burke, and they are loaded tonight with top-tier talent, including one of those horses we're going to see in the big showdown in the Metro.
Momentum is certainly on the side of the Burke Brigade, and Frantic Hanover's had all the momentum throughout the course of this season. He is undefeated, 7 for 7, but so too is Bojangles for trainer Dr. Ian Moore. And Greg, when you think about dream matchups, this is really one of them in the sense that we go into this Metro pace with two standout colts that have never faced each other.
Probably the best on paper matchup that I have seen in a number of years. And head to head, both the records basically mirror each other. Identical 7 for 7 records. Both have paced sub 150 miles. Both inching in on $500,000 in earnings. And a few weeks ago, I told somebody that Bojangles, I think, is the best colt that I've seen at this stage since Some Beach Somewhere. Now you've got another horse that looks, like he could maybe knock him off tonight based on what we saw in those eliminations.
Well, it's been fun this year. It's been the head-to-head battles between trainer Ron Burke and trainer Dr. Ian Moore. They've been squaring off at the 3-year-old colt level with Prince Hal Hanover and Luprint, and now they're doing it again with the rookies. Trainer Dr. Ian Moore, though, is very high on Bojangles, and earlier this week, we stopped out at the farm to learn more about this rising superstar.
I'm Dr. Ian Moore, and I'm the trainer of Bojangles, who's racing in the Metro. Well, Bojangles is a big, strong horse. He was a big yearling when we bought him last fall in Harrisburg, and he uses all his size for all his strength. He's a beautiful gaited horse. Very good mouth-wise, as the drivers say. He doesn't wear any earplugs or anything like that. He'll sit in, he'll leave, and do whatever you want. So he's matured quite a bit his last several starts. He hasn't grown any bigger. He's filled out a lot more than he used to be when he came to us in the fall. Well, I guess another gear, we'll find that out on Saturday night because there's obviously one more colt that's pretty nice as well, Ron Burke's colt, who's in the other elimination, and he looked pretty impressive to me. Most of the races this year have been against, the same kind of horses, Ontario sired horses, and he's usually been well within himself. This week we're probably going to get stretched out for the first time, I would think, for sure. It should be a really fun race to watch and be a part of. Malicious, I've always said before, that he was one of the best 2-year-olds they ever had. He was top 3 in North America that year and has gone on to be probably the most successful Bettor's Delight stallion, commercial stallion in North America. And he won his first 7 and won the Metro elimination, and he finished 4th in the final. I forget how it went now, but he raced very well. So he was a big, strong horse as well, and had a tremendous will and desire to win, which this guy has also. So there were a lot of similarities, lovely gait, all that sort of thing. I'm just hoping that the one similarity of getting beat in the Metro doesn't follow up this weekend. It's always very special to compete at the top level at Mohawk, which is Canada's flagship track. It's very special to win one of those races because it's very hard to do. A lot of the U.S. horses come here. They're now calling Grade 1 stakes, and so it's not an easy thing to win, that's for sure. We had a horse called Arthur Blue Chip in 2012 who won his elimination and was his favorite going into the final. We had to scratch him sick on the Thursday prior. So that was another shot ahead. So we've had a couple of shots along the way, and Stockade was really good, and hopefully we'll have the same this weekend with Bo.
All right, well, there's a little bit more about Bojangles as he will try to stay undefeated, looking to make it 8 for 8. So, too, though, is Frantic Hanover. What I found interesting, though, and notable from that conversation with Doc Moore, Greg, is the fact that he kind of rattled off a bunch of the horses that he's raced in the Metro pace over the years. One thing about Doc, when he brings his 2-year-olds to the track, they're certainly ready.
Yeah, that is for sure. That's an understatement. And, he knows what it takes to win this race. He's had some bad luck in the race too. So he's a veteran. He's got that experience, and he'll stay even keeled despite the fact he's got an undefeated colt coming in and a lot of pressure that goes with it.
The one thing about the Metro pace that I love to tell folks is the fact that this is really a launching pad to stardom. A horse by the name of Rock and Roll Hanover, a Hall of Famer, an all-timer. He was an upset winner in the Metro pace when he won it back in 2004. He was the first 2-year-old to ever break 150 when he won that race, and really from there on out, you couldn't slow him down. it's a who's list of past winners when you talk about the Metro.
Yeah, it really is when you go through them. And last year it was Fallout, maybe not a household name, and maybe not the profile going into the Metro final last year, but he got it done for Tim Tetrick, who has another big chance this year to come right back with Frantic Hanover. But you're right. There have been many greats that have gone through this race, and Bojangles, Frantic Hanover, early to call them great, but they look exceptional, and probably two of the most impressive two-year-olds we've seen at this stage in maybe a decade or so.
Well, obviously we're focusing in on that top pair, but there's 8 others that are going to look to hand them both their first loss. So let's meet the field. Time for the post parade for the $1 million Grade 1 Metro Pace 2-year-old Open Pace. Number 1 is Super Champ Hanover. Travis Alexander and his main man driver Matt Kakali are going to team up here with this son of Sweet Lou. 2 wins in 8 starts, was second to Frantic Hanover in his elimination last week. He had been primarily racing in the Pennsylvania Sire Stakes before heading north here to Mohawk Park.
Frantic Hanover is another one that's been racing primarily in Pennsylvania and now sprinkling in some grand circuit action. He's one of the undefeated colts, 7 for 7 for Team Burke. Tim Tetrick has won this race before with Fallout last year and a few years back with the great Captain Treacherous.
Al Poppy's kind of been riding in the shadows of his stablemate Frantic Hanover, but he's got an impressive resume already. In fact, he's got a mark of 149-2, 3 wins in 7 starts, never outside of the top 3. Ron Burke trains, of course, and Yannick Gingras will drive.
Shot's a little hot here.
There's Jody Jameson, who's won this race multiple times as well. He's won 2 of the last 3 editions, in fact, and he's got Till the Cows Come Home here. Father Carl trains and co-owns with Jody, along with Joanne Morrison and Blair Corbeil. This guy just 2 wins this year, but almost $300,000 banked.
There's a look at Bojangles, the local star, and it is going to be Bob McClure driving for trainer Dr. Ian Moore. Kind of a funny story in the sense that Bob McClure picked up the drive here for the first start of Bojangles' career when some of the other drivers who had been sitting behind this horse in the mornings, they were going to be out of town. McClure, though, no stranger to winning big races. He's won the Hambletonian. He is one of the best in the game, and he's cool under pressure. Drives for trainer Dr. Ian Moore, 7 for 7 with that mark of 149-3, taken last week in the Olymp.
He's a son of Cattle Wash. So too is this guy. His name No Waitlist, and he's been winless in 10 this year, but he's been chasing Bojangles and others much of the way. He's got some nice money on his card and some big miles as well, so could be a sleeper here for Scott Zeron, who's been a 3-time Metro winner.
Redland Rocket Man races for trainer John Pentland. Louis Philippe Waugh will drive. 5th in his elimination, but it got him into the final. 3 wins in 9 starts for that son of the world champion, Bulldog Hanover.
Number 8, Sweet Lovin' Lou, one of the local hopefuls, trained by Dan Legacy. A son of Sweet Lou who's won half of his 6 starts this year, more than $100,000 in the bank, and will have the services tonight of James McDonald.
We talk about horses coming from everywhere for this Metro Pace. Here is the New York Sire Stakes champion Fragment, a son of Huntsville, trained by Per Engblom. Jason Bartlett, who's having a career season. He is just racking up the wins and purse earnings, and right now you might say he's the favorite to win Driver of the Year in the U.S. He sits behind this 2-year-old who is 6 for 9 overall.
And another local hopeful here is the Gary Murder-trained, Gino Toscani-owned Stingray Deo, son of Perfect Sting. Great opportunity here for reinsman Travis Henry as well, but 4th in his elimination. It's going to be a tall task for him tonight from post 10, likely in check-getting mode here if he can pick up some of that big money.
All right, there you have it, the field of 10 for the Grade 1 Metro Pace, $1 million on the line. This race has been contested for $1 million several times over the history of the event. There was a long run where it was always $1 million race. Last year, after a little bit of time away from that figure, it got back up to 7 figures, and here we are once again in 2025. Well, we heard from trainer Dr. Ian Moore prior to the post parade talking about the undefeated Bojangles. Only fair that we give Ron Burke a little bit of airtime. He is the trainer of the undefeated Frantic Hanover, and Jamie had a chance to speak with him.
Trainer Ron Burke joins us now, and before we get into tonight, let's rewind a couple days. The Jug and the Jugette all in one day on Thursday. Congratulations. How did that feel?
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I've done it one time before, but like this time it was maybe a little more special. It was a homebred with the second one, so I'm really happy. It was really cool.
Let's get into the Metro here. Race 8, you have 2, leaving from post 2 and 3. First, Frenetic Hanover. I mean, phenomenal horse. How has this ride been this summer with him?
Yeah, he just keeps getting better and better. Like, it was like 3 starts ago. We got to start thinking maybe great, not good with this colt. Like, he seems to do what everything. And, the Bojangle horse seems like the same thing. So, not saying the other 8 can't win, but it is kind of cool to watch these 2 face off for the first time.
And what are some of his strengths out there on the track?
He does everything right. Like, he can race from the back, he can race from the front. He's quick. He's easily handled. He's just a perfect little horse.
And Al Pappy leaving from post 3. Tell us about him and how have you seen him improve this season?
Yeah, all along we thought he was a top colt. It's funny, like, I would say he was probably ahead of Frantic. And then, Frantic just kind of moved past him. But it's not a big gap. He's really a nice horse. Given the right trip, he can be competitive with these guys too.
Thank you so much for your time and good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, great to hear from Ron Burke having that dream week. He wins a ton of races each and every year. He's the winningest trainer in the history of harness racing. Definitely think this week, though, is one he's going to remember for a long time. That run at Delaware, a place that's very special to him. But, of course, just kind of winning all over the map. It didn't matter if it was on the trot, the pace, young horses, older horses. All of them are getting the job done. And Frantic Hanover, he talked a little bit about how this horse, they had to take a second to think about the fact that maybe they have something special here. He's a son of Stay Hungry. Ron's winning with all the sweet Lou's, but here he's got to Stay Hungry, not a homebred, which is something that they've really been specializing in recent years.
Yeah, Burks have another son of Stay Hungry that we certainly know well up in these parts. His name Brew Hanover, and so he goes back to the well with that stallion, and it looks like he's clicked for a home run here with Frantic Hanover, and I think his description was apt. I mean, when I watched him in the elimination last week, that's what impressed me the most. He was push button. He just sort of relaxed on the lead, came right back to Tim Tetrick, and boy, when he stepped on the accelerator turning for home, the response was instant. He has a high turn of speed that I'm not sure anybody in the field can match. Bojangles, he's got the overall game too, though. Absolutely no weaknesses, no chinks in his armor to this point in the season.
Looking at the betting board right now, they're co-favorites. Even those out there that are throwing their money down this race can't decide which way they're going to go. Both horses are currently even money. We still got a couple of minutes before they're going to be called into the gate. But which way are you leaning here, Greg?
I stuck with Bojangles. Again, I had a very tough time separating them, so I figured, let's go with what I know. And we've seen this guy right from baby race time all the way through. Every time he's won, when it looks like he might get challenged, he seems to do it well in hand. And I think there's another gear left in there, and he's going to need it tonight. Dr. Ian Moore in the feature alluded to that. He'll likely, I think almost certainly be stretched out here for the first time. And you could say the same for Frantic Hanover. By no means do I think he was at the bottom of the well last week in his elimination. I think there was a lot more left there as well. So they could very well threaten the overall record here, the stakes record of 49-1. We saw that, in fact, equaled earlier in the She's a Great Lady, a 2-year-old filly pacer, and we've got the horsepower here to maybe eclipse that.
And that was a Ron Burke trainee that set that Canadian record in the She's a Great Lady a little bit earlier tonight. Luadipa winning at 49-1. 49-1, the record here, happened twice. Tall Dark Stranger in 2019, Fallout last year. Based on what we saw last week, there's a very good chance they could break that.
Yeah, I mean, the only consideration is weather. Again, not typically a night where you're going to see those kinds of records broken. It's cooled off substantially, a little bit of a breeze as well, but we got fooled the last time on PrimeTime, Mark. We thought they had no shot to break it in the Maple Leaf Trot. What's Lexus Cody go out and do? But smashes.
Crushed it.
The overall record. So, and with this kind of talent, even with this weather, they can go right through it. The track is spot on, and this is going to be some kind of a race to watch.
Well, the starting gate is making its way up the backstretch, which means we're about a minute away from the horses lining up. We've talked a lot about this matchup here. Right now, Frantic Hanover 4-5, even money on Bojangles. If you looked at anyone else in this field, because it's not just a 2-horse race, who would you look at? For me, it's Al Poppy, and it would almost be fitting that if one of these horses that were undefeated goes down,
it's just another Ron Burke trainee that steps up and does it.
You're right, and we almost feel bad for not talking enough about the other horses in the race. Super Champ Hanover, the one, could be sneaky good here. Another Pennsylvania star, was a good second in his elimination. Al Poppy, I think, is logical. And I'm going to throw in Redland Rocket Man, the Bulldog Hanover colt. He was excellent in his elimination. He paced a final quarter as fast as anybody in the elims, 26-1. He just had too much work to do. He's got a lethal late kick, and they're likely to set the table with some big fractions up front, so he could be dangerous at a price.
Well, it's a big night here at Woodbine Mohawk Park, and this is one of the biggest showdowns we've seen in recent years when it comes to the Metro Pace. Frantic Hanover, Bojangles, both 7 for 7. Can either of them remain undefeated, or does somebody else throw a wrench into the mix? Chad Rosema has the call for the $1 million Metro Pace.
Field for the $1 million Metro Pace final. At the top of the stretch, they're lined up, picking up speed. Here they come. And away they go. They're off and pacing, all eyes on the undefeated Colts. Leaving down the center, showing some speed, Bojangles, but now quicker inside is going to be Frantic Hanover. It's Frantic Hanover and Tim Tetrick to lead them to the opening turn. Outside is Till the Cows Come Home. McClure's going to be 3 wide with Bojangles as he drives on. Super Champ Hanover making a break in the pocket. He's down to the inside. Here on the outside is Bojangles to come after Frantic Hanover. Till the Cows Come Home follows that undefeated pair from third through a 26-second opening quarter. Al Poppy's got a seat in fourth. Tetrick stretching out McClure and Bojangles as they race up to 3/8. Bojangles now takes over. Frantic Hanover in the pocket. Till the Cows Come Home third. Al Poppy in fourth. No waitlist fifth. 3 in front of Redland Rocket Man, who's followed by Sweet Love and Lou. And then it is Fragment. And the problematic horses in the back are Super Champ Hanover and Stingray Dale. They're halfway home in the Metro. 54-1 half-mile speed put up by Bojangles. He leads at a length and a quarter on Frantic Hanover. And a first up, Al Poppy. Second over is No Waitlist to the inside fifth Till the Cows Come Home. Sweet Love and Lou third over into the flow. Then Redland Rocket Man and Fragment half length leading. Bojangles is going to get them to 3/4 with Al Poppy supplying the pressure on the outside. In behind that pair is Frantic Hanover looking for a way. 1:22 and 1 to 3/4. And in the stretch, in the $1 million Metro, and McClure for the first time calling on Bojangles. Here's room for Frantic Hanover, and he takes his shot now on Bojangles. Here comes Tetrick and Frantic Hanover. Sweet Love and Lou on the scene. Bojangles digging in. Frantic Hanover. Bojangles conquers the unconquered. He is absolute perfection. 1:49-1. Bojangles equals the stakes and track record in the Metro Pace. What a thriller it was.
That's everything you could have asked it to have been there, Greg. What a showdown between the undefeated Colts, and it raged from the start right to the finish, and Bojangles prevails. 149-1. Unbelievable.
Yeah, incredible. That lived up to all of the hype and then some, and Bojangles, we figured that would be the case. He got tested heavily for the first time, and Bob McClure for the first time urging him for everything he had, and the Colt responds in a big, big way.
An epic duel. Bojangles wins the $1 million Metro Pace. Well, Woodbine Mohawk Park has seen some epic showdowns over the course of the years, and here tonight you can add one more to that list. Bojangles defeats Frantic Hanover in just an epic battle here in the $1 Million Metro Pace, and the happy connections are back to the winner's circle. Realistically, Greg, on paper, we knew this was a two-horse race, and we were hoping we'd get that showdown we were looking for. I think it exceeded the expectations overall. It really couldn't have got any better.
Yeah, I mean, it delivered on so many fronts. And for Bojangles, this was by far the toughest trip that he has had to go, especially in the early stages. He really got stung to make the lead. Frantic Hanover, Tim Tetrick had quite a job just wrestling him back to release Bojangles. And you and I both said afterward off camera that, turning for home, the way it was setting up, if Frantic Hanover got room with that lethal kick of his, that he might go by. But Bojangles, full marks. And I mean, now we're starting to see what we suspected. This could be a great colt we're looking at.
Absolutely. And what a big thrill for Bob McClure. I mentioned he's got ice in his veins, does he, in these big-time races? And there's another $1 million moment for him. Let's go to Bob now. On his way back to the winner's circle, John Rouse had a chance to speak with him.
Bojangles gets it done here. The Metro Pace 149-1. I'm here with winning driver Bob McClure. And Bob, how did that trip scenario work out the way that you envisioned it going into that race?
I didn't really set a plan. I just wanted to be ready for whatever was thrown at us. But, 3 wide in the first turn wasn't part of my plan, but I was pretty confident in this colt. I figured anything I threw at him, he'd take it and prevail. And, it looked like a two-horse race, and I'm just glad I was able to outmaneuver him.
A pretty good one on your back, obviously, and he shook loose late in the mile after being stretched out early on. I know this colt's been good, but that was a great one on your back. Were you confident this guy was going to be game enough to fend him off?
I figured it was a 50-50 battle at the head of the lane, but this colt wasn't letting him go by, and closer we got to the wire, he just kept digging.
And lastly, Bob, I mean, for you all week long, this is a race that you've been thinking about. I mean, for you, how did you kind of mentally, how did you kind of go through this week?
I was okay. I've been through enough of these now. I just focused a lot on family and hanging out, and look forward to it.
Congratulations, Bob.
Well, Bob McClure, I know how excited he is. I know Bob well enough to know that he is just exploding on the inside. But like I said, he's a calm, cool, collected character here, one of the best in the game, and that trip worked out. He mentioned not going in there with a full-on game plan in terms of how it had to go, and that was probably for the best because he had a few different things thrown at him over the course of that mile.
He did, and that's a good point when it comes to Bob. He's got that experience on the big stage. He's a Hambletonian winner, so he knows how to stay cool under these situations, and it could have been easy. That race could have maybe got away from him early on the way things were unfolding, but he was confident in the colt. He had a game plan, and the colt delivered. And for Bojangles, he passed another significant test here tonight at a point in the race where a normal horse would start to get tired. He just kept digging all the way through the wire, and he got pushed right to the limit, and he responded beautifully.
Well, we do have an inquiry here in the Metro Pace. It does not involve the winner, Bojangles. It involves Frantic Hanover, the number 2, who finished second, unofficially for the time being. Tim Tetrick moving him out of the 2-hole there. And I think they are looking to see if there's any contact with what I believe to be on the left side of the screen there. Is that his stablemate, Al Poppy, who was the first over pressure, and that is Yannick Gingras driving that one. So in this case, if Frantic Hanover did cause interference, he could get placed behind Al Poppy. And
we should say great results for the locals. Bojangles winning. You had Sweet Love and Lou rallied stoutly to be third, just nosed out Redland Rocket Man. So, and the connections, all of these horses with an inquiry sign flashing. I mean, this could be a real lucrative placing for some if indeed they find an infraction. And kind of ironic, the potential infraction is on the stablemate.
Well, we'll have to wait and see as the AGCO judges continue to review. It's been a busy night for them already. Earlier tonight, there was a disqualification in the Elegant Image, one of our 5 Grade 1 races, that for 3-year-old trotting fillies, where they ultimately decided that the winner in that case would be disqualified. That was our Duchess, Tim Tetrick, I don't want to bring it up again here, but that's Tim Teach with Frantic Hanover, one of those nights. I mean, this is when there's a lot on the line, and you get in some tight quarters in these big-time races.
Yeah, it's been kind of a nightmare night for Tim, one of the greatest drivers in the sport, and you know, that happens from time to time. So, you know, fingers crossed. You'd hate to see a placing in a race of this significance. And, you know, Frantic Hanover, full marks. I mean, he couldn't get by Bojangles tonight, but he is the real deal as well.
Well, I think I just heard over the PA system here at Woodbine Mohawk Park there was no violation committed by Frantic Hanover, so those results are going to stand. Inquiry sign has come down. 5-2-8-7 will be the top four. So Bojangles, Frantic Hanover, the first meeting between these colts. I very much look forward to the next.
I can't help, you know, this is a long time away. I can't help but think ahead to the Pepsi North America Cup next year. And, you know, if both of these colts continue on this path, they stay healthy, all things go well for both of them, I would fully expect to see them back here putting on a similar show.
Oh, just incredible was it here tonight in the Metro Pace, and we mentioned about it being that launching pad to stardom. In this case, we already kind of had two stars in the making. No doubt about it, cementing his spot as a superstar right now is Bojangles. And you know, I know sometimes we don't want to exaggerate things or go out on a limb, but you said something a little bit earlier, Greg, and I do agree. This is maybe the best colt we've seen since Some Beach Somewhere, and we're going close now to 20 years.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's to do with his overall physique, his appearance, everything about him. You know, he just looks like a man amongst boys, you know, and out there, I mean, he's just a beautiful specimen. He does everything right. He's a true professional, despite his young age. And obviously, he's got incredible talent and the will to win that we're seeing now, too. So he is the full package. And, you know, if people didn't know his name before tonight, they sure do now.
They certainly do. There's a look at the payouts from the Metro Pace. Sometimes it's a lock. That was the case. Bojangles, Frantic Hanover, 1-2. The Metro Pace goes to Doc Moore and Bob McClure. More coming up on Mohawk Million Night here on PrimeTime.
Cadabra looking a lot like a wire-to-wire winner. That's Cadabra summoning all of his best magic, and Dave Miller takes him gate to wire to win the richest race in Mohawk's history over Like a Prayer. ENS Snapshot was third, Civil Action was fourth. That was Cadabra. Track, stakes, Canadian record, 152-4.
Well, a little throwback there to the Canadian Trotting Classic when Cadabra prevailed. David Miller in the bike, a memorable moment right here at Mohawk. And coming up next, we'll add a little more to the history book when you talk about the Canadian Trotting Classic. It is annually the marquee race for 3-year-old trotters here in Canada. And when we talk about those who's list, I don't want to repeat myself, but again, lots of the all-time greats have won this race. And Greg, this year, the 3-year-old colt trot division coming into the season was all about Maryland. It hasn't gone according to plan for those connections. It's still been a decent year, but there's still a lot of time to get it back on track and potentially repeat with divisional honors.
Yeah, and I mean, if you told me coming into the year that in September Maryland would not have a win under his belt this year, I would have been looking for some serious psychiatric help for you. I think, Maryland, he ended off last year on such a high note. Of course, he won the Mohawk Million and then pretty much ran the table the rest of the way, made $1.6 million, and this year 0 for 6. So, yeah, decent by, most horses' standards, but I'm sure the connections are tremendously disappointed here. Marcus Melander, though, he's won this race before, and you mentioned it, a who's who list, Cadabra, who went on to be, the most prolific trotting sire in Canadian history, basically. And, Green Manalishi for Melander was a winner in this event a few years back, and he is kind of the now trotting sire here in Ontario. So, yeah, it's definitely been one of the most important races in Canadian harness racing. It is Canada's Hambletonian.
Well, for Maryland, winless in 6 starts, he's still made over $350,000 this year. He's been knocking at the door 4 times. He has been the runner-up. He'll go from post 2. A Moticon legacy, though, he has dominated here locally at Woodbine Mohawk Park. He won earlier this season the Good Times on North America Cup night, setting a Canadian record at the time, matching the all-time track record for a trotter here at Mohawk. And then, well, he followed it up again with another big-time performance, winning the Simcoe just a few weeks ago. So a Moticon legacy. He is certainly in fine form. We'll talk more about him in just a moment, but driver Tim Tetrick, it's been an eventful night for him so far. He has got a drive behind Gap Chronos for trainer Oka Svanstead coming up here in the Trotting Classic.
Driver Tim Tetrick joins us now, leaving from the rail with Gap Chronos S. How are you feeling about the rail?
Well, it's better than having the 10-hole, but the rail here with the slanted gate makes it a little tough, especially for trotters. But, this one's really sure-footed, and, Aki's horses are always ready. So, he's a really nice horse. He finished 4th in the Hambo, and at Pocono, he just, kind of got too far back. But he's a nice horse.
And he has a really good kick home. How do you find that last stretch in this race, looking at the program here? What do you think is going to happen? Is it going to be a sprint for the wire?
I'm sure it is. There's some nice trotters in there. We just need some speed to chase. If they go a middle half in a minute, we're kind of be in trouble probably. But, hopefully we can get away close and see how the race plays out.
And how is he just on the track to handle out there?
Oh, he's a professional. He drives nice. He's a big, strong colt. He listens to what I want to do. And, he's just so easy to drive. Makes my job nice and easy.
And young trotters, just something on your mind out on the track. What do you keep, at the top of your head with them out there?
Keep them trotting. Most of them, the program kind of tells you, and to follow what the trainer says, and, hopefully you don't mess up.
Yeah. We enjoy having you up here on this side of the border, and good luck tonight.
Thank you very much.
Always good to catch up with Tim Tetrick, and he teams with Gap Chronos, 1 of 10 that will line up in the Grade 1 Canadian Trotting Classic. We'll meet the field on the other side of the break.
Muscle Hill, and he is under wraps for Brian Sears. Sears peeks back, and he's got a six-pack on the others. It's all Muscle Hill. Way back in second, Explosive Matter. Judge Joe third outside. Southern Rocket top is fourth. Trotting Greatness. As Muscle Hill crosses the line, his 17th straight, he's won the Canadian Trotting Classic, and he won with authority. 153-1. It was all Muscle Hill.
You talk about legendary stallions, Muscle Hill. He's certainly in the conversation, and he was a winner of the Canadian Trotting Classic back in 2009. Time to meet the field for the 2025 edition. Number 1 is Gap Kronos, trained by Oka Svanstedt, who won the Hambletonian just a couple months ago with Nordic Catcher. Tim Tetrick drives 1 for 7 this season.
Number 2 is Maryland, the winner last year of the Mohawk Million. Same connections who captured this event last year with Amazing Catch. And it's Dexter Dunn back on board. Maryland, again, looking for his first win of the season. Hopes to do it on Canadian soil.
I mentioned that big victory in the Hambletonian with Nordic Catcher for trainer-driver Oka Svanstedt. Unfortunately, that one suffered an injury. He is done for the season, but always loaded for bear is Svanstedt. Happy Jack B, the New York Sire Stake champion, goes from post 3.
Another New York Sire Stakes star, fadeaway Hanover number 4, Ben Bayerjan, Santo, and Nunzio Vina, all of Ontario. Sharing the ownership, Ben trains, and it's James McDonald driving, the 7-time winner from 17 this year.
You can't miss the gray. Go ahead, make my day. Jason Bartlett for trainer Blake McIntosh, 2 for 15 this year. This one likes to grind. He has made over $140,000 so far in 2025.
Emoticon Legacy, he's the highest money winner in the field this year, $650,000 banked. A 5 for 7 record for Determination of Montreal, Quebec. Trainer Luc Blais, and will be driven, as usual, by Louis Philippe.
Here's a new recruit for the Burke Brigade. Southwind Caspian makes his debut for trainer Ron Burke, and it comes in this Grade 1 event. Yannick Gingras will sit behind. 2 for 11 this season, 8 times in the top 3.
And another local hopeful, Wild Turkey Hanover, is going to take a shot here. Ron Waples Jr. is the co-owner, and Ron does the training. And Phil Hudon, the veteran in the driver's seat. This guy, 2-time winner this year, and just closing in on $100,000 lifetime.
There was the 9 Meshuggah, Scott Zeron for trainer Marcus Melander, another entrant for the Melander barn. 1 for 9 this season, was second in his last appearance in the Pennsylvania Sires Championship.
And that is your field. There's a landing on time for Zeron, the last one out here, Rick Zeron. So you've got Scott and Rick leaving right beside each other on the gate here. Strength in numbers for Marcus Melander. And he said great success, especially last year on Canadian soil. This is where pretty much all of his major wins came, so hoping to relive a bit of that magic tonight.
Well, the out-of-town trainers like to come in and scoop the money. The local trainers like to protect that home turf. One of them is trainer Ben Bayerjan. He sends out Fadeaway Hanover.
Welcome inside the paddock, and trainer Ben Bayerjan joins us now, sending out a ton of horses tonight, but the 2 we're going to focus on here is the first one in the Canadian Trotting Classic is Fadeaway, leaving from post 4. Now, you qualified him last week, and coming into tonight, how are you feeling?
Well, he qualified real well last week, last quarter, 26-4. Well, he followed your dad's horse, Logan Park, and James said he was real strong, and he looked very good. I needed to qualify him because, unfortunately, we got scratched the week before in New York. Some kind of misunderstanding, but he's coming in the race real nice.
And he's been back and forth. Your daughter Sarah has been racing him in the States, so he's been back and forth. How has that process been for him? Has he handled the travel well?
Yeah, he's been pretty good. After the first time, well, he got used to it. Yeah. We didn't go very far with him. Buffalo, Batavia, Saratoga one weekend, back to Batavia, so he was okay with all that.
And as a 3-year-old, we were talking before, and I told you, I've been impressed with him as a 3-year-old this year. What kind of growth have you seen from him?
Well, he kind of impressed me, too. And, well, he trained last year. He showed ability, but he was not mature. And this year, training down, well, you know, so-so. But after he won the one, I think after he qualified the first time, I said, ooh, we might have something. You know, he picked it up when we put him behind the gate, and I think the pedigree came out. Yeah, he's got good pedigree.
And let's move on to kind of one of the stars of the night, of course. Strobe Light, going for $1 million in the Mohawk Million. Just kind of, how does that feel?
It's a race. It's going to be a good race because there's a lot of good horses in that race. I think it's probably the deepest field that the $1 million of that race so far since that race began.
I agree. It's been quite a lot of talk about it. It's a very deep field.
Yeah, it's a deep field.
And you didn't actually have a spot for this race, so you had to purchase one. And when did you decide you start looking for a spot in the Mohawk Million?
Well, when he was third in the Wildwood, my partner, Sento, that's all he's got in mind. And I wasn't really looking myself, but then we won in Grand River pretty easy. He was third in the Wildwood, nicely done too. And then he won the Champlain last week here. Well, I said, we might as well look for one. We have no race for him this week, and after this race tonight, there's one goal left in the super final, and that's it. So, and the horse is, I think he's peaking just at the right time. He's getting better and better every start, smarter and smarter every start, because he has his, at the beginning of the year, we were careful with him because he could get a little bit arrogant,
And 2-year-olds, right? They can go any which direction, and we're so glad you're here with us in the Million tonight. So good luck in all aspects.
Thank you very much. Hopefully we get some money.
All right, always good to catch up with Ben Baillargeon. Plenty to share there, and of course, well represented on this big, rich card here at Mohawk Park. Here with Fadeaway Hanover and then Strobe Light in the Mohawk Million. We mentioned a little bit earlier about the year that it's been for Marilyn and Greg. There's your visual proof if you want to look at the numbers.
Yeah, it's really incredible, and again, he's been right there. He's just not quite the same Maryland that we saw last year or expected coming into the season, and still looking for that first win. He's only 6 starts in, so relatively fresh, and it's hard to determine what has kept him away from the winner's circle this season. He's had some good efforts for sure, but he'll need to be a little bit better here tonight. We saw the major wins there, and again, many of them coming here in Canada last year, including the Wellwood and then the Mohawk Million. Those are the 2 races that kind of propelled him into that dominant 2-year-old season.
Well, we should talk about his last start. It was here at Mohawk Park back on August 30th, and he was coming up after the leader, Emoticon Legacy, around the last turn. He was first up, about to pressure, and he rolled off stride, made a break. Now, he's had a qualifier since. He returned back to the Red Mile in Lexington, Kentucky, turned in a real strong qualifying effort, 151-2. It doesn't sound, just talking to those around the Melander camp, that they're at all concerned about any more braking issues for Maryland, but in that race, Emoticon Legacy just took off in the lane. It would have been interesting to see if Maryland might have been able to touch him on that night.
Yeah, I mean, that was the matchup we were kind of looking for, so maybe it materializes here tonight, but alarming to me to see a horse of his caliber make a break at this point in the season. He'll need a big bounce back tonight.
3-5 favorite is the 6 Emoticon Legacy. Louis Waugh, Luke Blais, Determination. We'll see if they can prevail or if someone else can take the top prize, the Grade 1, $615,000 Canadian Trotting Classic. Here's Chad Roseman with the call.
3-year-old trotters lined up. The Canadian Trotting Classic. Gapped off, that's 10 landing on time. Away they go. They're off and trotting. Go ahead, Make My Day and Emoticon Legacy are leaving out of there down the center with Happy Jack B. Maryland to the inside 4th. Gap Chronos along the rails, going to get away 5th from the pole position. Then Fadeaway Hanover settles 6th. In front of Southwind Caspian, Meshuggah. Then Wild Turkey Hanover, and landing on time after the gap start trails. Parked out on the outside is Emoticon Legacy, continuing to try and drive forward to take over the lead from Happy Jack B. 25-4, opening quarter for the Trotters. And Emoticon Legacy now leads it into the backstretch over Happy Jack B, who stretched him a bit. Go ahead, Make My Day trots 3rd ahead of Maryland in 4th. Gap Chronos the 5th one. Then Fadeaway Hanover, Southwind Caspian, Meshuggah, Wild Turkey Hanover, and landing on time. Single file as they go by 3/8. Up towards the half. A race favorite, Emoticon Legacy, leads the way by a length on Happy Jack B, and Go Ahead, Make My Day. Dunn makes his move. First up with Maryland. He's going to give Tetrick and Gap Chronos Kronos the second over trip. Fadeaway Hanover, third over 6. To the inside is Southwind Caspian. Then Meshuggah 3 in front of Wild Turkey Hanover and 5 more to landing on time. The half was 54 and 3. They've got 3/8 to go. And a Moticon Legacy out to a length and a half lead now on Happy Jack B. Maryland inches closer on the outside. Gapping the cover gap Kronos. Go ahead, make my day to the inside. Then Fadeaway Hanover, Southwind Caspian locked up. Meshuggah swinging wide. 1:22 and 1 to 3/4. And it's a Moticon Legacy leading by 2 on Maryland, who's trying to track him down in second. Then Happy Jack B, Gap Kronos and Fadeaway Hanover, but a Moticon Legacy has got 2.5 on Maryland, and a Moticon Legacy will deliver in the Grade 1 Canadian Trotting Classic by 2.5. It's a Moticon Legacy home over Maryland, and Gap Kronos in 1:49 and 4, the fastest 3-year-old in Mohawk Park history. It's a stakes track Canadian record for a Moticon Legacy sub 150 in the Canadian Trotting Classic.
The incredible performances continue, and there you have it. A 3-year-old trotter going sub 150 for the first time ever here in Canadian harness racing. A Moticon Legacy crushes his own Canadian record to win the Trotting Classic. Just an epic performance here as he launches and takes off down the lane. Powerful, to say the least. A Moticon Legacy in the Trotting Classic.
As rallying past him comes Pilot Discretion. Green Man Alishi still there with the lead, but here's Pilot Discretion closing with every stride. Pilot Discretion on the outside is closing for McCarthy. Green Man Alishi needs the line. Green Man Alishi digs in to score in the Canadian Trotting Classic in 1:52 and 4, fending off Pilot Discretion's late charge.
1:49 and 4, a Moticon Legacy gets it done here in the Canadian Trotting Classic. I'm here with winning driver Louis-Philippe. Wow, Louis, you worked a little hard to get the lead, 25 and 4. This colt's had a tendency to get a little bit hot. How much more mature is he for him to be able to relax here and get the job done like this?
Well, actually, that's almost the first time this year that leaving the gate he was a little hot. Like, he wasn't giving me the option. So I was just sitting on him, waiting. I was hoping that Jason was going to retreat at some point, and I was just letting him trot. Then once he was on the front, I could do what I want. But I saw Maryland coming first up at the half, and I said, well, I don't think it's a good time to take a break and get him close to us,
As the year approaches, the end of the year, I mean, just how much confidence do you have with this guy taking on some of the best in the division?
Oh, I feel like he never gets tired, so I don't know, very confident. I hope he doesn't get me wrong, but I think he'll be pretty hard to beat.
Congrats, Louis.
Thank you.
Louis-Philippe Roy guiding a Moticon Legacy to the victory, 149-4 in the Canadian Trotting Classic, a stakes track Canadian record. Here's a horse, of course, that was bred for greatness. When you look at a Wallner, that's the stallion. His mother, a Moticon Hanover, she a Breeders' Crown winner, a superstar in her own right, and a homebred for determination. They'll spend a lot of money at the yearling sales. In this case, though, a homebred that gives them just an epic Grade 1 win. There's a look at the payouts, Greg. $260, popular winner, of course, a Moticon Legacy here. Maryland raced well second, but I don't care what Maryland showed up. It could have been the Maryland of last year. It could have been Muscle Hill showing up here tonight. I'm not so sure anybody touches a Moticon Legacy.
No, Maryland went what I would call almost a winning race. He was that good tonight, and unfortunately, it was only good for second best. A Moticon Legacy, it's big signature victory for him. Goes over $1 million Canadian with the victory here, and you're right, determination, loop play, the connections. They don't buy horses or breed horses to race in overnights. These are the races they are trying to win, and they've had tremendous success.
They're having a big night when you think about the fact that Lasting Dream benefited from the disqualification in the Elegant Image earlier tonight, finished second, got pushed up to the victory. They won an undercard race, an overnight right off the bat. 3 wins tonight for this stable. Red hot is that Blade, Determination, and Walk connection, and a Moticon Legacy. Certainly, he's the front runner to win 3-year-old Trotting Colt of the Year here in Canada, but now he's getting himself into that conversation, I think, south of the border.
Yeah, I would say he's the front runner on both sides right now, if you had to, put it to a vote. And still a lot of money left on the table. And he's got the home court advantage here when you look ahead of the Breeders' Crown. So he's sitting on one of those special seasons. It's already been special, but boy, he's got a chance to really cap it off in style and have one of those memorable years that not many get to enjoy.
In the last several weeks have provided many track records here at Mohawk Park. Constantly, they got to scratch them out and rewrite them. That's just been the kind of run it's been throughout this championship.
How about that first quarter, too?
Yeah, 25-4.
I mean, to be stung in 25-4 and then kick home in 27-3 the way he did it. That's impressive.
Absolutely. So a Moticon Legacy wins the Canadian Trotting Classic. And now we'll turn our focus to the Mohawk Million. Potential starters for next year's Canadian Trotting Classic. It's the 2-year-olds here in a unique race. It's a buy-in format for the Mohawk Million. 10 slots available for purchase, each priced at $50,000. That gives you $500,000. Woodbine throws in the other half, and then you get that $1 million purse. The draw happened back in March. The deadline was February 15th to put in. More than 30 groups put in for a slot this year. 10 lucky winners from that draw, then had several months to decide what they wanted to do with that slot. You can sell it, you can trade it, you can lease it, or you can raise a horse in your spot. 7 of the 10 spots ended up being dealt. 3 of those slot winners from the draw back in March decided to hold on to race their own horse. Doesn't really matter. All that matters tonight is that we've now got that field of 10. And Greg, we mentioned it right off the top. Likely the deepest field we've seen in the short history for the Mohawk Million.
It's a unique format in harness racing, and it's one that I think is here to stay. It's added a whole other element of intrigue to this race, and we've seen it how it's played out over the years, and a lot of drama, I'm sure, when they're trying to solidify those spots. A lot of wheeling and dealing going on behind the scenes. It's a cool dynamic, and what we do have this year, I don't think anyone's arguing, the best 10-horse field we've had in this edition number 6 of the Mohawk Million.
When the Mohawk Million debuted back in 2020, Andrew McCarthy guided Venerate to the victory in the inaugural event, and he's got a big-time shot here in 2025 with Endurance. Let's catch up with Andy now.
Andy McCarthy joins us now, and leaving from post 6 in the Mohawk Million with Endurance. But let's rewind for a few years back. You won the inaugural Mohawk Million with Venerate. How was that?
Oh, that was so exciting. Yeah, I just got very fortunate that year to pick that drive up. You know, that was the year that the COVID shutdown was on, so Andy Miller didn't want to make the trip up, so I was very blessed to pick up that drive, that's for sure.
Definitely not a bad one to pick up, but post 6 here, this is one you're not picking up. You drive him regularly. I mean, coming in 6 in a row, 6 wins in a row, how's your confidence coming into tonight?
Yeah, I'd say high. He's been an absolute dream, this horse. He really has. You know, he's performed very well. He's done everything that I've asked so far. So, just hoping that he's on his A game tonight, and we'll see what happens.
And of course, they're just little, they're 2 years old, but how have you seen him learn from week to week? I mean, he's doing everything right, he's winning, but have you noticed, improvement out on the track?
You know what? He was pretty push button from the start. This horse he's been a dream. I've kind of said all along he might be the nicest horses I've ever driven, just for manners wise, regardless of his ability. But he's just been so smart the whole way through, and he's not hard to drive, that's for sure. But he's definitely just grown a little bit and gotten a little stronger. So we're hoping that carries on.
And in general, 2-year-olds, are they tough? Are they easy? What's your favorite part about racing babies?
I love racing babies. Yeah, I really do. They're just exciting. It's very hopeful. We're yet to find out, but it's. I think he's good enough to really go on and have a great future, this horse. So, and Chris has just done an amazing job. Every little time we race him, he asks if there's any tweaks we need to make, and there's just been a couple of small ones here and there, and they make all the difference. But I think that's the biggest thing about racing babies is just helping them progress.
Well, we look forward to seeing you guys out on the track, and good luck tonight.
Thanks so much.
Endurance, the Kentucky Sire Stakes champion, won that rich final just this past Sunday night. Now the trip to Mohawk Park for the Mohawk Million. We'll meet the field on the track when we return on Primetime Racing.
Tom, TCI on the far outside is coming on. There's 6, 7 across. TCI digging in though is Tennessee Tom. TCI, Tennessee Tom, TCI. You gotta be kidding me. TCI wins the million. Second was Tennessee Tom. Allegiant was third, 154-3. 3.
Could we get a little more of the unthinkable here in the Mohawk Million? We'll find out in several minutes when the horses get out on the track. There's a look at Ardon, winner of the Wellwood Memorial back on August 23rd. Earlier this week, we got a closer look at Ardon and his trainer, Megan Scran.
Hi, my name's Megan Scran, and I'm the trainer of Ardon, and we're racing in the Mohawk Million. I really liked him in Lexington. I really liked his pedigree. I thought he was going to be more of our affordable rate because, you know, there's some that you just can't put a finger on and grab. So he looked like he was right in our budget, and I really liked him, and he was a great individual, and I'm glad we got him. Everything we asked of him, he just always acted like an aged horse, and I never wanted to get my hopes up because you just never know with babies, but all along I was pretty high on him. Very athletic, very smart, like he just seemed to know his job, but the breed's just getting so smart now. When I first started in the business, the horse that I fell in love with from the same family as like Tactical Landing and Mission Brief and all them, so I've kind of always had a soft spot for that family, and it just worked out, and I'm glad I have one, and I hope I can get more. So in the Jersey Sire Stakes, I was kind of worried because he went 4 weeks in a row, but it did not seem to phase him at all, and he actually just got stronger and stronger. So they're pretty rugged, like the Tactical Landings. I really like them, but I was definitely worried going so many weeks in a row with a baby, but nothing's really seemed to bother him. In fact, when we give him, like he's had 2 weeks off and he's been very fresh, so he likes his work, and that's a good thing. Winning the Wellwood was pretty special because I've always been pretty connected with Paula Wellwood and Mike Keeling with Mary Marauder, so to win their signature race, and that was pretty awesome. I'm confident in him because he has won a race here. You know, he's been over the track, he's accustomed to the track now, so that gives you a little more confidence knowing that he's been over this track a few times, and yeah, we just got to hope for everything to go our way. So the 3-hole gives us options. You know, it'll be up to Scott and how he wants to drive them. I don't tell him anything and just tell him how the horse is or whatever, but yeah, we got options, so I'm pretty excited. This year means everything, you know. Every year you hope to build on what you did last year, but I never expected to have the year I'm having. I didn't think I'd have any babies this year, and I ended up with 3 homebreds and 2 purchases, so and to have this colt, it's pretty special.
Good to catch up with Megan Scran, and you talk about that memorable moment in the Wellwood. That race goes for nearly $500,000. We're going to double the purse here tonight in the Mohawk Million, and they've got a big time shot. Currently the second choice at 3-1. Time to meet the field in its entirety. A field of 10 for the Mohawk Million. Number 1 is Apex, trained by Marcus Melander. Dexter Dunn drives these connections, looking to go back-to-back in the Million. Almost following a similar path to Maryland last year, going into the Million. He won the Peter Houghton last time out at Hoosier Park. That's a win in your in race for the Breeders' Crown. He has won 5 of 7. Starts from the rail, number 1, Apex.
The number 2 in the field, Silverstein. Silverstein, a son of Chapter 7, and owned by Ohio Connections, Dark Horse Farm of Vienna, Ohio. Matthew Burkholder is the trainer of this guy. Just 1 win, but 7 on the board finishes in 8 starts. Always around $250,000 plus earned. And he's got the right man in the driver's seat. Dave Miller has won 2 of the first 5 editions of the Mohawk Million.
There's a look at Ardon, who we just caught up with moments ago, led out there by trainer Megan Scran. Scott Zeron drives. They call him the money man. Talk about a driver with ice in his veins when it comes to these big races. Philip Steinberg is the owner of this horse. He's from Weston, Florida. He made the trip up to Mohawk a few weeks ago to watch his horse win the Wellwood. I saw him in the winner's circle. First thing he said to me, Mohawk Million. They'll try and get that double here in Campbellville in just a few moments.
Looking to continue what's been a dream night so far for Determination trainer Luc Blais and Louis-Philippe Bois. Here's Shimmering Hanover. She's a filly taking on the boys in here. Daughter of Captain Corey. Has not missed the board in her 6 starts this year. $104,000 earned. And fillies have won this race before in the early editions of the Mohawk Million.
There's a look at number 5, Cambridge Hanover trainer Andrew Harris. Jason Bartlett will drive. Bill Pollock, Bruce Arman are co-owners along with Harris. They're not afraid to dish out the money. They spent $1 million at the Harrisburg yearling sale to acquire Cambridge Hanover. He's one of just a few $1 million yearlings we've had in the sport. He's winless in 5 starts, but he's been on the board 4 out of 5 times.
Other end of the spectrum here, Endurance, just a $19,000 yearling purchase, and this colt is very close to being undefeated this year. A 6-for-7 record, over $500,000 earned. He's been on some kind of a roll. Chris Beaver does the training, and Andy McCarthy looking for a second Mohawk Million title.
There's a look at number 7, Dublin Hanover for trainer-driver Oka Svanstedt. He takes no prisoners out there, especially in these big Grade 1 races, and here's a horse that's coming in fine form. He won the Pennsylvania Sire Stakes final back on September 5th by 4 lengths. 3 for 6 overall, Dublin Hanover.
The lowest priced yearling in the field, Strobe Light, just a $16,000 bargain basement purchase at last year's London Classic yearling sale. This guy has been punching above his weight so far this season. Son of Alarm Detector, 2 wins, 7 on the board finishes, and 8 coming off 2 straight wins, including a division of the Champlain Stakes. And it's going to be James McDonald on board for co-owner trainer Ben Bayerjean.
Number 9, Diabolic Hill has won 3 of 6 starts. Todd McCarthy drives for trainer Annie Stobie. We've seen Stobie popping up in these Grade 1 races quite often, especially here with these trotters. She trains a standout mare in Alista Hanover, hoping that Diabolic Hill can find some $1 million magic here at Mohawk.
Team Burke won this race 2 years ago with TCI, and this year they've got AI with the outside post 10 in this spot. It's going to be Yannick Gingras on the driver's seat. AI tearing it up in New York. 5 wins and closing in on $500,000 in career earnings. So that is your field of 10, and what a star-studded group of rookies here. Best edition ever, we all agree, of the Mohawk Million.
One thing about the current climate in harness racing is the fact that sire stakes programs are just so prominent, whether that be in Kentucky, Pennsylvania, here in Ontario, New York, New Jersey. The Million really is finally this meeting ground for a lot of those champions in the various jurisdictions. Number 1 is Apex. This is your New Jersey standout, also already a Grand Circuit winner in the Peter Houghton last time, and Dexter Dunn is looking to double up. They call him Double D, trying to double up in the Million, and Jamie caught up with him a little bit earlier tonight.
Dexter Dunn joins us now, and how excited are you to be back in the Mohawk Million, coming from the win last year?
Yeah, it's great to be back in the race. Obviously, it was a big thrill winning it last year with Maryland. So, great to be back with a nice colt like Apex tonight.
Yeah, leaving from the rail, Apex, just what are your thoughts in general on the lineup of this race?
I think, it's a really strong field, I think, Endurance I've been racing against him in Kentucky all season. He's an extremely smart colt, and he's obviously, Scotty's colt's been good, and he's raced here before, so, the rail's not ideal, but my colt, he seems to be handling, anything that we throw at him this season. He's, he's pretty intelligent, and hopefully gets out there okay, out of one hole okay.
And you team up with Marcus Melander lots over the years. Tell us about your relationship with him as a trainer.
Yeah, second year with Marcus. Him and his brother Matthias and the whole team, they do a great job. I love working for them. They turn their horses out looking $1 million every week, and they have them ready to race. They do a great job. So, it's we've been having a good run over those 2 years, and we're hoping to keep it going.
Speaking of having a good run, some may say that you're the best driver in the world. When you hear that, how does that make you feel, and what are your thoughts on that?
well, I don't know if that's true, but I'm extremely lucky with the horses I get to sit behind. They do all the hard work, the trainers and the grooms and all the workers do all the hard work, and I just try and point them in the right direction.
Well, thanks for joining us here, and good luck on the repeat.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much, Jamie. Good to hear from Dexter Dunn. And Jamie posed that question. I think you and I would both agree over the last 7 years, no one's been better in this sport than Dexter Dunn.
No, you're right. And, he's a modest guy, too. He's well-liked and well-respected in addition to being supremely talented And yeah, so he's never going to say he's the best driver in the world, but I think the fans and I think the statistics have bared that out certainly in recent years, and that's saying something because we've got the best drivers in the world here in North America, and many of them here tonight.
Here's a look at the records, and we want to bring this up considering what we've already seen tonight in the Metro Pace and then most recently in the Canadian Trotting Classic. Won a Motocon Legacy 1 in 149.4. Stakes record set last year, 152.3 by Maryland. The track record, fastest 2-year-old trotter, Special Way. That filly did it in the Breeders' Crown back in 2022, 152. And the world record, another filly, 150.3 Mission Brief, did that down over the clay surface at the Red Mile, Lexington, Kentucky. I don't know if we're going to push that, but I'd have to think Maryland's stakes record could be in jeopardy. It might just be a one-year run for Maryland.
Well, based on the miles we've seen earlier this evening in other marquee races where they have been breaking records, we've got the talent here, I think, to do so. Not sure they're going to chase that world record clocking, but they can give the stakes record a go in here. What a great field! Getting a look here at Strobe Light, and one thing I'll say, Mark, for the lowest priced yearling in the looks department and pre-race appearance, takes really a backseat to no one.
He looks terrific out there on the track. Mohawk's leading driver, James McDonald, will guide. There's a look at the 5 Cambridge Hanover. You want to talk about horses that have the looks. He brought $1 million as a yearling. That's what his connections dealt out to acquire him. And I just look at the page here right now for this field of 10, and I mentioned it a moment ago about the fact that you're bringing in those various jurisdictions' top 2-year-old trotters to meet. Until they finally get together, you really don't know, Greg. That is a bit of a mystery about this race. But number 6, Endurance, your current even money favorite. I was at the Red Mile this past Sunday night in Lexington, Kentucky, and watched him win that Kentucky championship, and he looked like he didn't even break a sweat. He looked like an absolute monster out there. As impressive of a performance as I've seen in quite some time from a 2-year-old trotter, I'm riding with him here tonight. But that being said, until he takes on an Apex or an Ardon, you really don't know.
Yeah, we saw him scoring out a moment ago. I had a look from our vantage point here and got to see him and Apex both, rambling into the first turn here, going, both of them pretty fast, and both cornered really nicely here. So signaling to me that both are probably going to be asked for early speed to be in the mix here, and you want to be up close, going for $1 million, no question, but many will have the same idea. You're spot on, though, and that's what adds to the intrigue of the race. It's so much unknown. They've all been doing their thing in different jurisdictions. Now they all meet head on for the first time. So who really is the king of the division? We don't know, but in about 2 minutes from now, we'll find out that answer.
If you do want to go price shopping and you want to go with one of those horses that really hasn't done a whole lot wrong, number 7, Dublin Hanover, for Oka Svanset, 15-1 right now, the Pennsylvania Sire Stake champion, and that's been a spot where a lot of top horses have come out of in recent years.
That's for sure, and I think that's something that you have to consider in here. We heard from Megan Scran. I think Ardon, a big player here, and has the benefit of a big win in the Wellwood over this oval not that long ago. Even Diabolic Hill, a high-priced yearling, really started the season on a high note. Has tailed off a little bit late, trying to find the mojo back here tonight with $1 million on the line.
All right, the horses are lining up as the starter calls them in. Time to make some $1 million memories. The 2-year-old trotters, a field of 10. The grade 1, Mohawk Million. Here we go.
Great draw to work from Apex, the regally bred Apex. Won 3 in a row, the Houghton champ, getting some play as well, of course. And the Wellwood winner, Ardon, from post 3 is at 9-2. They've reached the top of the stretch. Field of 10 lined up for the grade 1, Mohawk Million. Here they come. And they're off in the million. And away they go. It's Strobe Light. Quickly jetting out there for McDonald. McDonald points Strobe Light, the Ontario sired son of Alarm Detector, to the lead. Svanstead aims for the pocket with Dublin Hanover. There's Apex along the rail, 3rd. Outside of that one is Silverstein wide. Endurance to the opening turn, now 2 wide as McCarthy just kind of holds on there a little bit in 5th. Off stride on the lead went Strobe Light. McDonald lost him. So taking over the lead is Silverstein. And here driving outside is Endurance. 27-4 opening quarter, and Endurance on the outside is going to sweep up and by Silverstein. And he takes over at the 3/8 check-in. It's Endurance over Silverstein. Dublin Hanover trots third. Apex follows fourth, and Ardon to the inside. Shimmering Hanover. Diabolic Hill to the outside. Inside Cambridge Hanover. AI starting up and further back to the Miscure Strobe Light. They are to the midway point, and it's a length and a half leading Endurance, getting them there in 57 flat. Silverstein second. Apex is on the move for Dunn. Here on the outside, he's attacking leader Endurance just a length away. Second over up to fourth. A perfect trip mapped out here by Zeron for Ardon. Inside backing away Dublin Hanover. Third over Diabolic Hill getting closer as well. AI catching up to cover. Shimmering Hanover. Cambridge Hanover as they hit three quarters in 1:24-4. 27-4 pickup of speed, and Endurance swings for the stretch in the Mohawk Million. He holds on to a slim lead. Apex on the outside trying to climb over that hill. Apex pokes ahead in front. Silverstein set down by the Buckeye. It's Apex with the lead. Dexter Dunn looks over his shoulder. He's clear late in the Million. It's the Melander Million, his third. Dunn comes right back. It's Apex in the Mohawk Million in 1:51-4. That is a new stakes, track, and Canadian record. Apex in 1:51-4.
The records continue to fall, and the beat goes on for Dexter Dunn. Marcus Melander. Apex wins the Mohawk Million.
Just incredible, Mark. This was a Herculean effort to win it. 51-4, trying to close first over against a great colt into an incredible final half, and he was superior.
Sugar. Here's Maryland from the backfield. Maryland full of trot now, and Dunn sits chilly on Maryland, who just jogs here in the Mohawk Million. Maryland, much the best. Dunn again in 1:52-3. It was Maryland trotting to a stakes, track, and Canadian record mile.
We're here with Dexter Dunn, who captures the Mohawk Million for the second consecutive season here as he gets it done with Apex. Dex, I mean, just talk about the trip scenario and how it's set up for you tonight.
Yeah, you know, it's never easy, you know, from the inside. you know, and there was a bit of action going into that first turn, but you know, like he has been all prep, he's, you know, just handled it like a true professional, and you know, he got away, you know, not too far back, so you know, he handled it really good though.
You know, Marcus talked about just how great of a job you did kind of teaching him and how to keep him a little bit quiet to not get him keyed up. Does he feel like starting to feel like a professional to you even in his young career?
Yeah, you know, he got a little excited there, you know, earlier on, but you know, now he's you know, he's beautiful and relaxed. He's and he seems so intelligent too. You know, he knows his job, and he's only 2, so you know, I moved him down, you know, past the half there, and he was travelling so strongly around the last turn, Johnny. I just wanted to make sure he got round it, you know, in one piece. And once I asked him, it was, you know, he really put his muscle into up the straight.
You know, he's got a nose for a wire, and this is a colt who just looks like he wants to keep on digging and chasing horses. That's a good colt that you had to chase down, but he looked like he wanted to get the job done.
Yeah, and his colt's, you know, a great colt, but yeah, this guy, he's a true racehorse, and like I said, he really knows his job, and he likes that winning post.
Back-to-back Mohawk Millions for you, Dexter. Congratulations.
Really lucky. Thank you, Johnny.
Well, Dexter Dunn back in familiar territory as he wins the Mohawk Million. Marcus Melander, he loves this race, now a 3-time winner. Apex getting the job done. Steve Stewart loves this race. I feel like Steve Stewart, the man behind Huntington Farms, wins this race every year. Somebody would feel like they just created it for him. They're in the winner circle year in and year out, and that means they're associated with just some fantastic horses, and they got another one on their hands here in Apex.
Yeah, and I mean, he's an expert in breeding horses that can win these kinds of races, there's no question. And, you know, he retains part of the ownership on this one with the SRF stable, and Jeff Snyder, another prominent owner out of New York. Yeah, so teaming up with Melander and Dexter Dunn, they've had the Midas touch when it comes to this race the last couple of years.
Well, Endurance took a lot of money right before the start of that race and went off at 1-5. Apex at 5-2 is going to return $740, $270, $220. That exacta pays $9.60. Good performances from Silverstein for Matthew Burkholder of Ohio coming into town. They get a 3rd in Diabolic Hill for trainer Annie Stobie. David Miller pick up the 4th. As the celebration continues in the winner's circle. And it's going to be a lot of pats, a lot of nice rubs for Apex as he secures the victory in the Mohawk Million. He's already punched his ticket to the Breeders' Crown Final. He won the Peter Houghton last week in Indiana. With that race came the stipulation, if you win, you get to go straight to the Breeders' Crown Final. So we will see him here at Mohawk in just a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I can't wait to see, because he truly is a budding superstar. And speaking of superstars, there's Dex, something that we're quite familiar with seeing since he arrived in North America, and that's hoisting trophies in these Grand Circuit Grade 1 type races. And when watching the stretch drive again here, I was watching the body language of Dunn, and that's what told me this horse was a winner right in about there. He moved up despite the long park out. He moved up with authority, and Dexter, you could tell, was quite confident his colt was going to go by.
You don't see Dexter raise the whip all too often, but this one means a lot. Another $1 million moment for Dexter Dunn, Marcus Melander, and connections here with Apex. What a fun night it was, Greg. We saw some incredible action on Canada's richest night of racing. We hope you enjoyed it. We certainly enjoyed bringing it your way. For Jamie McDonald, Greg Blanchard, I'm Mark McKelvey, and for the entire crew behind the scenes, we'll see you again soon. Mohawk Million goes to Apex in a Canadian record time.